they are more and more investing on segments in a strategic way, not just here's a tool where you can group your contacts. And I feel like that's the game changer. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of HubHype. This time, as I promised last time, we have a very special episode because we are welcoming a guest, a special guest. This is our first time we have a guest. So thank you so much, Timo Ferlein, for having us and accepting actually our invitation.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome. Really cool.
So let me just tell you for those who don't know. So Timo is an experienced consultant in helping B2B business, in marketing automation, customer journey, lead management, and he's also the founder of Pipeline Pilots. Is that right, Timo?
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly. That focuses in consulting and implementation of lead management and again, marketing automation and customer journeys. And thank you so much again for accepting our invite. Did I left something out? Would you like to say a little bit more about you and what you focus on?
Yeah, hi Lisa, hi Erwin. Thanks for the invite. Very happy to be here and very happy to be the first guest in HubHype. Really, really cool. Yeah, as you already mentioned, I'm helping B2B companies with a focus on the software and professional services sector, winning at CRM, lead management, marketing automation. I'm focusing here really hard on HubSpot, and therefore I think it will be a good conversation today.
Like match, exactly, because we're
Yes.
doing the exact same. And we decided because there's so many topics we could address, but we decided to focus on one specific that I feel like it rings a bell to everyone working in marketing and in sales, which is lead segmentation. So lead segmentation, there's tons of things we could talk about. We could have 2 or more hours about this topic. But back to you, Timo. What do you think like about the lead segmentation? And just in general, not specifically in HubSpot. What do you think, or why do you think that is such an important topic, strategic talking? Because I feel like sometimes companies talk about segments in the way that, okay, let me just, do some filtering in my CRM or in, God forbid, in my Excel file and start segmenting. But how can, or not before the how, why is that so important for companies to have a specific strategy laid out for segmentation?
I think there are many good reasons for having a good segmentation in your CRM or in HubSpot. In fact, it's important in every CRM. It's not a tool topic. However, HubSpot sent this market signal also because, as you remember earlier, the lists in
What's called
HubSpot
lists. Yeah,
called lists. I think people like us who are working really long with HubSpot, for us, they will be always be the lists, but now they are called segments. So from this point of view, I think it's also a market signal. HubSpot is doubling down on segmentation. Why it's important? Because the amount of data in your CRM or in your marketing automation suite or whatever is growing really fast. And especially in B2B, you have so many different people here. You have, like when we go into the buying center, you have like the economic buyer, for example. You have your champion and so on. So you have really different persons from a contact perspective. Let's talk about companies later. From a contact perspective, so many different roles in your CRM. And the main goal of the segmentation is, of course, to provide relevant content to them. Because let's say someone from the IT department has different questions than someone from a marketing department, just for example. So the overall goal, let's break it down like this, is that when you have a good segmentation, then you can provide the right content at the right time to the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. We always preach that because I feel like, and you said it, there's so many data coming in, whether that's inbound leads, but mostly sometimes coming from sales. And let's face it, most of those data are not in a very good shape quality wise. So I feel like part of segmentation is also to make sure that your data quality is good, like fields are also normalized. So do you also agree that data quality is something that you need to think about first in order to finally have a good segmentation in place?
Sure, I think data quality is one of the points we have to think first. And I think it's somehow funny because we are talking about data quality since years and nothing changes. Or from Erwin's perspective, since decades, maybe.
Exactly. Thank you for that one, Timo.
Just kidding. But let's be honest, I think it's true.
It is every time the same.
Yeah, I think with all those enrichment tools, whether they are in HubSpot directly or third-party tools, I don't care. It's getting a little bit better, but it's still a long, long way. The quality on the one hand, but the structure on the other hand, I think you guys are seeing it also every day, like that we have many text fields instead of drop downs and so on. So things that make it difficult to have a proper segmentation. And yes, you mentioned, Lisa, data quality is one thing what we have to talk about before we are building something in the tool. I think there are more points to discuss, but data quality is one of them.
Yeah.
What is your recommendation, Timo, when you look at your current customer base, or also when we look in the customer base together? What is your recommendation? Should they, for sure, a lot of companies are starting with the ICP, saying what is my ideal customer profile? Maybe they're coming up with 2 or 3. Some of the companies already have 10 or whatever. Is your recommendation to really start to build a segment based on the ICP, or is your recommendation to do a new segmentation for every campaign? How do you approach that?
Mhm. I think the segmentation via ICP is a good start because, as you mentioned, many companies have already developed their ICP. Hopefully, if not, then they should do
Maybe.
it. But then it's the easiest way to have a first segmentation from this perspective. Um, per campaign, I think it makes sense, of course, but I think it's not easy for someone who is starting with segmentation. So I think segment the whole database into the ICP or an ICP fit, how good someone fit in our ICP from a company perspective is the most straightforward way to make this first step into the segmentation topic.
So really saying, okay, you should have a kind of a basic set of segmentation, which you can access all the time, either on ICP, maybe on scoring values, maybe on areas, depending on your business model. So if you're running a lot of events in, I don't know, Munich or areas where you are in, your recommendation would be to pre-build segments where the marketer can access them quite easy and then just push it in. Right?
Yes. I think that's the first step. I think it's always easier to start with something easy, like a quick win, to get a feeling as a user, like, hey, what's possible? And I think it's more easy to rely on those easy facts like the sector or the company size. So it's understandable for everyone. I think you guys at Thalox built this really great tool where you can segment after the interaction of someone. And that's, of course, really cool for nerds like me, but I think for someone, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, sure.
But for someone who is just starting with segmentation, it's too much.
It's
So it's like
overwhelming,
next step.
maybe.
Let's build the easy segments via company size, position. It's understandable for everyone. And when we have those, then let's go deeper into the interaction segmentation, where we can find those leads who are really active on our emails, on our website, and so on.
Yeah. That's why we always, and I'm sure you do the same with your clients, we always start to make sure that the company has a well-defined ICP, because based on what it's important to define, like what's the ideal customer profile of that company, you can go back to your database and check if you have that data available. Again, data quality, and see if you need to enrich it or not. And then because that's company level, you can break that down to the contact level and start with that. And then the next step is looking into the current behavior behavioral data that you have in the system, and you can filter behavior within the ICP, within the contacts that actually matter. Because, we have sometimes a lot of contacts who are just
Yes.
there, and need to be deleted. That's another step. But besides behavior, like, because you guys were talking about having already those ready to go segments, is there any specific segments that you also recommend everyone to set up? For instance, have a list with bounced contacts that you can suppress from emails. Is there anything like that every company should make sure to have that always?
Yes, yeah, you already made a good example. I like this bounce or list or all the contacts who unsubscribed from emails. I think that's the most basic segment. For me, it's not even a segment because it's so basic. I'm more thinking about how we can create segments for growth, like those bounces or unsubscribers. It's for me just a data quality matter, but for sure we need the segments. So you are totally right. From a growth perspective, I would say what's really interesting all the time is, but it needs a database, a good database, is a contact segment with which are assigned to lost deals. And if you go one step further, you can say to lost deals with the lost reason, for example, bad timing or something like this, or no budget at the moment. So you can reach out to those people, let's say 3 months later, 6 months later, 1 year later, and say, hey, we talked 1 year ago. Sadly, it was not the best timing. Should we set up a meeting? So it's so easy to create new opportunities. It's way more easy to work with those data than to source new leads.
I totally agree.
Zero trust into you, who
Yeah.
don't know you. So first have a look at those leads where you had a long history with, where there are already deals, won or lost, in fact, and reach out to them. So that's one of my favorite segments, contact assigned to lost deals.
Yeah, absolutely. And also that's a great way to leverage lead segmentation for sales, because those leads were once in the sales pipeline, they got lost for some reason, and you can even then push them into a sequence.
Yes. So that's one I like. Yeah, then the classical one, many sales teams or also revenue teams are organized by territories or maybe even bigger things like Europe and North America, South America, like from continents. Of course, things like this, that we have the responsibility clearly set. Also a good point and a simple one, to be honest. And then when we talk about the more advanced stuff, like the interaction segments, for example, with your tool. I don't get money for this when I when I
Don't promote
talking
it too
good
much,
about it.
Timo.
It's not sponsored.
Unpaid promotion. Yes. No, for example, with your tool, but to make it more easy, when you just want to start, you can start with really, really easy stuff and say, hey, show me every contact who has more than 2 form submissions, just for example, or who clicked on more than 10 marketing emails in the last 365 days. Also, just an example. So yeah, and then we can also combine segments. We can say, hey, we have here our lost deal contacts, and we have here our really active contacts. Where are the common people, therefore? And then we have those really, really high potential lead pool for marketing, for some nurturing flows, newsletter, but also for sales. When they have an empty pipeline, they can source from there. It's more easy than to look for completely new stuff.
What would be your recommendation, Timo, to companies which, let's call it a segment strategy for now, or as an hypothesis? What would be a good starting point really to segment the data? Because I think, as always, it's like using Word when you're using HubSpot. You for sure go to the segment, see what there's possible, and there are tons of possibilities,
Yeah.
right? So it could be super complex, but I think we already mentioned it should be easy to start, or let's do an easy start. But how could people get in the way of thinking like we do? So Because you mentioned deals and close lost, or even closed won, or even or close lost to competitors could be also interesting.
Yeah.
Are you really satisfied with the competitor, yes or no, doing a kind of a nurture campaign? What would be your recommendation how to really get started? For sure, we said easy, but to get this mindset of trying out things, experimenting, what would be your advice
Mm.
to those
My
companies?
advice here would be forget the tool, forget HubSpot, forget Salesforce, forget Dynamics, whatever. Just start on a white paper or a Miro board or whatever and thinking about the business first. Not thinking in technical limitations or can this tool do that or this. Just think, hey, what would be cool? Like a wish list. I always do this with new customers or prospects. When I say, hey, what are you wishing for? And then we look, is this wish realistic? Is it possible, makeable or not? And when we just start with this wish list, let's say, and say, okay, what are our overall business goals this year? Is it to, for example, reduce churn? Is it to build new logo pipeline? Is it to expand existing customers? Then we can say, okay, what we need from a data perspective to reach this goal. So I would always start with the overall business goal, business strategy. We already mentioned the ICP. That's for sure good. But I would go further. We define the ICP, but we also define the target personas or the buying center, however, and forget the tool completely. And when we have our wish list or our ideas, our goals, whatever, call it like you want, then we can make this check. Hey, what's possible natively in HubSpot? And I would say 9 from 10 things
Are
is
there.
Yeah.
totally basic. Yeah, that's makeable. And the one which is maybe not realistic, okay, then we dump it or we are looking for third-party tools how we can reach it. And I think today you can just ask ChatGPT or Gemini, hi, I want to build this and that in HubSpot. Is this possible? Yes or no? For sure, it makes mistakes here and there, but it's a first idea. Or a better
Exactly.
way, you ask people like us for help.
Even better.
It's a quick
Accurate.
way.
ChatGPT. Absolutely.
Long story short, I would forget the tool at the start.
Yeah. I love that. I love that because you said it. The tool would most probably be delivering. Technically, almost everything is possible. Just think about what are your goals and what you want to achieve. And this is a great way to start because I feel like sometimes companies miss that step. They just want to start. They just say, okay, just explore it. You need to have a strategy and why you are doing that.
Yes,
Otherwise, it's just a tool
And
and you
and
won't
and
make goals.
maybe in addition to that, do not overcomplicate things, really.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Because the world is complex even nowadays. But to build a segment, also what you mentioned, Timo, start on a paper, nail it down, see where the gaps are, and then just go. Don't think about too complicated. Really, yeah,
yes,
I agree.
yes. I
Yeah, yeah.
think the added value is like with everything in the lead management segment. You can build a really complex segmentation. You can build a really complex lead nurturing concept. You can build a really complex lead scoring strategy, whatever. And I think at a complex level, the added value will not increase. Like you
Mhm.
make it always more complex, but it isn't getting better. So yeah, keep it simple.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Have you had the chance to look into, because in the beginning you said that HubSpot changed the name from lists to segments. And I feel it's just a simple name change, but at the same time, it's conceptually very important because it's not lists, we are segmenting our data. And they did some recent improvements in the segment feature. Did you have the chance to look into it?
Do you mean like you can see, for example, the email performance for single segments or things like this? Or
Yeah.
what are you thinking about?
Yeah. So they did some changes. So for instance, you can, I think it's a private beta. I don't know if we tried it. I don't know if you have. And I just wanted to get your feedback about the web visitors. Have you tried that feature?
Not
So
yet. Not
yeah,
yet.
No.
so
Yes.
but it's interesting that so it is a private beta. If you had enrolled into it, good, because it's no longer possible. I think they kind of that. They probably fine-tuning it. But it's super interesting because it gives you an overall number of visitors, like
Mhm.
unknown visitors,
Mhm.
and traffic, and the ones you actually have in your database that visit your website. I feel like there was something that was missing, and I feel like HubSpot is really stepping up into the segmentation game, especially when it comes to behavioral data. Another thing, super like really really cool, they added this week in the list. You create just not a list, a segment. Sorry, you create segments. And they have this kind of metric overview on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can see like the amount of contacts you have in the database. There's something new which is called predicted email engagement. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yes, yes, I saw this. To be honest, only on screenshots, not in my system yet. But yeah, I think it's really cool, and I think it's more or less the core idea of Thalox back in the days. So yeah, I think it's also a good confirmation for you, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure. We are on the right path, I'm sure.
yes, yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. I think from what I could see, I think it's giving you based on just historical data. If this specific segment has a high potential to engage in email, I don't think it has any kind of algorithm or AI in the background like in our tool we have. But again, the idea is that, they are more and more investing on segments in a strategic way, not just here's a tool where you can, group your contacts. And I feel like that's the game changer, and I'm excited to see more.
yes, I think also there's no alternative because you have to nail your content and your messaging so perfectly because there's so much spam with all those automation tools and AI email outreach stuff. It's going crazy. Like I'm sure you're also receiving emails every day. It's so bad often, and you can see when there's a good email that they made really good segmentation. So, and if you want to get a response or again engagement or whatever, I think there's no alternative than really to have really good detailed segments.
Absolutely. That's a good way to wrap it up.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
Absolutely. So, Timo, I don't know if you want to additionally say anything else about this topic.
No, no,
Yeah.
everything said.
In the next episode, Timo, because I found it super fruitful to have you on board to discuss with you.
Yeah.
And we were pretty nervous when we said, okay, we bring someone new in because we didn't know how this would go, so to say. But I really liked it because it was a very good conversation.
Thank
I
you.
really liked it, and I'm sure we are doing this somewhere next time with another topic, maybe lead management or lead scoring, which
Mhm.
is my favorite topics, as
Yeah,
you
yeah.
all know. Yeah, thank you so much for being a guest today,
Yeah.
Timo.
It was
Yeah,
really,
thank
really
you.
good. Thank you so much, Timo. And of course, you will be invited in again. So
Thank you. Yeah, it would be great. It was really fun.
So
thank
bye
you
bye to the audience.
Yes, bye. Thank you, and see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.